The Storm That Stopped. A true story about who Jesus really is. Now, we love reading about Jesus. Oh, this looks like a map of the Sea of Galilee. You see? One day long ago, Jesus was teaching people by the sea. Soon, more people arrived, then others, then more, and more. Until soon there were people everywhere. Far out. We can't hear. Give me some room. Be quiet. I can't see. The crowds were just too big. No one could see Jesus, and no one could hear Jesus. So Jesus asked his friends, the disciples, to push their boat out onto the water. He sat in the boat and the huge crowd spread out along the beach. Now they could all see and hear Jesus as he told them about God. When he finished teaching the people, Jesus said to his friends, "Let's go over to the other side of the sea." Jesus had finished teaching the crowd, but now he had something to teach his friends. But they didn't know it yet. So they all jumped in the boat with him and set sail across the sea. Jesus was so tired, he'd been teaching the people all day, so he lay back in the back of the boat and fell fast asleep. It was a quiet evening.
A blanket.
That's right, it's Jesus sleeping. He's got a blanket.
Why?
Well, don't you sleep with a blanket?
Yes, a blanket.
No. I don't know what that person's doing. Playing a flute or something. Is it back? It was a quiet evening. The water gently lapped against the boat, and the sun set in the sky. Jesus was sleeping. The disciples were talking quietly. Then all of a sudden, they were in the middle of the biggest, the loudest, the scariest, the most ginormous storm you could ever imagine. Ba-ba-ba-boom! The wind blew hard. The waves grew huge. The water poured into the boat. But Jesus was asleep. The wind blew harder. The waves grew huger. The water filled the boat, but Jesus was still asleep. That's someone going, "Ah! Jesus! Wake up! Wake up! We're drowning! Don't you care?" He's got water. He's got hair over his face. What a silly thing to say. Of course Jesus cared. He loved his friends so much. That's why he was going to die. Now, Jesus stood up in the boat. The wind was still blowing. The waves were bigger than ever. If it reaches here, alert, alert. It's orange. I wouldn't be outside if I were you. Blue, mild breeze. This is the windometer, waveometer, sinkometer, panic-o-meter. The water was pouring into the boat quicker than the disciples could tip it out again. The boat was sinking. But then Jesus did something amazing. He didn't help his friends pour the water out of the boat. He didn't help them try to row back to land. Jesus simply spoke. But he didn't speak to his disciples. He spoke to the storm, to the wind, to the waves. Quiet, be still. What's that going to do?
It's going to roll back around.
Wow, not quite yet. Just those three little words and the storm stopped. Right away at that very moment, the sea was quiet.
Why is he sitting up there?
And
Why is he sitting up there?
he's being silly. He's probably... That's just a funny picture, isn't it? The sea was quiet, still, and calm. Then Jesus looked at his friends. "Why are you so afraid? Do you still not trust me?" But they were terrified and they asked each other, "Who is this? Even the waves and the wind do what he says." Oh look, this is a diagram. This is what Jesus wanted to teach them. He wanted to teach them who Jesus really was. The disciples already knew a lot about God from his special book.
What is that?
They knew God knew everything. That is the wind. They knew that God made everything. He made the world.
What is that?
He made the sun, I'll get to that, and the moon and the stars.
What is that?
He made the sea,
What is that?
And the wind as well.
What is that?
That's the wind. If that's the wind, this must be the waves. This is the waves. This is the wind. You're right, the water. They knew that only God could tell the sea what to do. That only God could tell the wind where to blow, and the waves when to crash. Only God can do these things. But the disciples had just seen Jesus do the same things God can do. So, what's the answer to their question? Who's Jesus? Jesus is God. This is Tales from the Truth. Oh, do you want to find out more? It says, how do we know about the storm that stopped? The account of Jesus calming the storm was written down for us by Mark, a friend of Jesus' disciple Peter. In the New Testament part of the Bible, you'll find it in Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 41. At the end of this true story, the disciples ask each other, who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. The rest of Mark's book shows us the answer to these questions. Jesus is about to do things that only God can do. For example, in Psalm 107, it is God who saves some sailors by calming a storm. So, who is Jesus? He's the Son of God.